'Cause I am searching, don't need to look outside myself to know that I am whole. And I've been learning, made it through the darkest storms, and I'm coming to my own. And I am worthy of love. I can learn to love myself just because.
Thank God.
This is my post song. I am worthy.
Yes.
I am worthy of love. You are worthy of love.
Because
You get worth. You get worth. We all get worth.
I need it today.
Seriously, it's been one of those days. It's been
Yeah.
one of those weeks. It's been one of those months. I
think
feel.
so. Yeah.
You know, I've tried to fact check this, and there is conflicting reports, but apparently, winter.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas, New Year's, big seasoned holidays tend to create the most stress and the most depression. And I feel like that could be a thing, but apparently I'm wrong. Apparently it's complete fallacy.
Oh, really?
But I'm feeling it this way.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot that can happen leading up to the holidays, and we're not like focused on decompressing, and then all of a sudden everything is done, and then the body starts to relax a little bit, and then everything starts to freak out. So hi.
Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with me, Emma G and
Dinah Simpson. Good to see you.
Likewise. Yeah, super grateful to be here and to be having these conversations. As we talked about last week, I'm going through it at the moment, and you're talking about just the go-ness, and then giving ourselves an opportunity to stop, be still, and let it maybe catch up with us. I got some signs today, Dinah, that I am doing too much. Okay. And the first thing that popped into my head was, I can't wait for my conversation with Dinah, because that is where you excel. Okay. Is stillness.
Yes, that's my place of just happiness, and so I love to get people into the stillness to really pause. So what's going on with you?
Well, I'm learning to be still. I'm learning to be still, and it's always been kind of uncomfortable for me to be still. I noticed, after the passing of my mother, I have a tendency to really try to almost outrun the feelings by being all practical and blah, blah, blah. And I'm realizing that's not the best way to do things. So that's when people like yourself can be really beneficial, I think. So I wanted to preface that, because today our guest unfortunately couldn't make it. So today's a really great way for us to maybe reset and kind of introduce each other and kind of talk more about our zones of genius. And stillness is not my zone of genius. My zone of genius is obviously in creating energy or moving energy from one extreme to another potential extreme. Music can be pretty extreme. But I want to talk more about the stillness stuff first, if you're open to it. Yeah. So what got you into?
So I guess that kind of doing the motion of just going from one thing to another led me to craving more stillness. And I don't know if we had talked about, but I came from corporate America, and that fast pace. I was working for a Fortune 50 company in finance, and there's a fast pace movement towards that, very productive. Everything is just measured. And not a lot of room for error, not a lot of room to take up space and time. Everything just moves really fast. So when you're working with the market, right, the market's working fast, and you're just looking at this time zone, another time zone. So anyway, you get the idea. There's just a lot of motion.
I'm familiar with time zones.
Yeah, you are familiar with time zones. And so it's just the body tends to keep going because the mind is pushing us forward. But then at a certain point, the body starts to break down, right? And that's when we get sick, we trip over and could potentially hurt ourselves, right? We're just moving a little bit too fast without really thinking things through. Impulsivity comes into play a lot as well. So, we can make mistakes very easily. So anyway, the long story of it is I actually got sick. I ended up in the emergency room more times than I want to say. And then fast forward, I had kids, and I just started to realize like time with them was also moving really fast, and I was missing out on moments. And so the meditation practices were my opportunity to really slow down and be present with them and not think about work when I was with them, and when I'm with them, when I'm at work, think about my kids, right?
Yeah.
So when I can bring presence into my life, I can fully appreciate where I am at that present moment. So if that makes sense, right? Like a lot of the times when we're doing something, we're in the thought of like, I'm doing this, but your mind is somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, like sometimes you could drive and then you
get to your destination. You're like, how did I get here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're in an autopilot.
Yeah.
So anyway, that process pretty much sums up where I am now. Everything is, it's still life, and my mind does go other places, but I really come back to stillness in my practice, a lot of times for reflection and how I can improve. A lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I'll do that, and we keep missing the mark because we're not changing, kind of like what we talked about last week with Dr. Rob. We have to disrupt the mind in order to make the change. We have to pause enough to know, like, this is the moment that I actually have to make the change. Otherwise, we loop back into the same patterns.
Yeah.
So meditation is great, and it's really hard for people to be still, like you said.
Yeah.
It's really difficult because we kind of have to put ourselves in an uncomfortable situation, and nobody wants to be in an uncomfortable situation. However, I think it's worth the uncomfortableness. So my teacher always says we have to cross the crises. We can't always avoid.
Can't go over it.
Right.
Can't go around it. Have to go through it.
Have to go through it.
Okay. So it's interesting because as you're talking about kind of the catalyst for your finding peace journey was a result of your hospitalizations. I feel like I had the opposite experience as a result of my hospitalizations, right? Like, I spent all this time having surgeries and brain surgery and rehabilitation and so on and so forth. And truth be told, it's probably got a lot to do with losing people as well, to various reasons. But I have always kind of adopted this thought process then that, well, if life is finite, instead of leaning into it, I need to make the most of every single second. Right? Which I've done pretty well.
Yeah, definitely.
But then life kind of whacks you along the head and goes, well, no, slow down. And I feel this very much push-pull thing. So I think, as I'm learning to be still, yes, you're right. It's very uncomfortable. But it's it's fun.
The uncomfortableness too is like the mind freaking out. It's like, no, I don't want to be in this space. But what we learn from that uncomfortableness is more information about ourselves.
Right.
And so if we don't sit in that and start to kind of realize why am I feeling uncomfortable? Because I keep going and maybe there's some sort of avoidance. I like what you're talking about, maximizing, like time. I totally get that. But when you're doing that, can you find, some moments to just like take a breath in between maximizing?
So here's the other thing. I think maybe this is a result of brain trauma. I don't know what it is, but every time I find stillness, my brain goes into creative mode. And this was a conversation I was having with my therapist today, because every leader needs a leader,
Yes.
and
So
every
true.
helper also
Yeah.
needs a helper.
Yeah.
But my go-to when I'm feeling that push-pull discomfort is to write music. And he told me to not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because that's my go-to response of alchemy, when sometimes I just need to let myself feel and go through it.
Yeah.
Which is very uncomfortable.
Yeah. I would say that we're getting in kind of deep, right? So I would say that like part of so I practice Buddhism, not so much as the religion, but like as the philosophy. And in that space, it we learn about impermanence. Like everything is changing all the time. Like today, actually, as I'm like frustrated with the snow, like so frustrated with like the blocks of ice in our area. It's just been super cold and everything is just like icy. And I found
myself quite confronting to come home to. I'm not gonna
lie.
Yeah,
you were like in paradise, warm weather, and just like,
and then negative 12 degrees.
It was it's so cold. But as I was, I had a client earlier and I was putting things in my car and I looked outside and, took a moment. I was like, oh my gosh. And then the sun kind of just caught my eye and it bounced off of the ice and the snow. And it was actually really beautiful. So in that moment, I had stillness to appreciate that the snow is not going to be here for long. The days are getting longer and the weather's going to be warmer and it's not going to be here anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so things change constantly. And that's the interesting thing is that like we know things are changing all the time, but our brain wants to always like come back to the same thing because it's feeling safe.
Which is when the pattern interrupt goes. And that's again why I turned to songwriting. Because I use songwriting as a modality to interrupt those, we think the same thoughts.
It's almost like 80, was it like 8,000 times a day or something like that.
And so for me, songwriting has always been that thing of like, okay, if this is the thought that I keep coming back to, what's its opposite? Its opposite message. How can I turn that? How can I feed the positive wolf, right?
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I have a song called The Wolf I Feed because I'm very not very, I don't know, I like Native American culture. But how can I interrupt those thought patterns into something that is empowering to me, beneficial for me, helpful? But it's hard. Yeah. It can be really hard to kind of interrupt those patterns and look yourself in the mirror and say, you're worthy, right?
Yeah, I know. It really is. It's also, it's a way that we soothe. Well, for you, it's soothing your nervous system, and that's the other thing too, right? Like our body's telling us so much information, and we're not settling with it to know like how the body is reacting to it. So, a lot of people have so much pain in certain points in the body, like when or positions too, like when we're on the computer, we have the strain in the shoulders and in the upper back, in between the brow and just at the top point, like there's stress held in there too because of the thinking and the looking at screens and stuff like that. So, we're narrowing. And so there's so much stress in here, clenching the jaw and things like that. Yeah. If we don't pay attention to it, those start to manifest into more pain, more physical pain. And so if we are not in some sort of like stillness to recognize that pain is there. Sometimes the pain has been there for a while and we're like, oh, I'll get to it. And then we never get to it. And then all of a sudden we're like, so stiff that you throw out like your hip or, something happens. And so I think that we have to, listen to the body and, pay attention to how to nurture what's calling us. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I mean, it's self-awareness as you're talking about that. My predominant client is a teenager. And I kind of like it because I'm very big on proactive action as opposed to reactive action. Although, I joke that my oldest teenager is 66, so whatever. But but as I'm like working with my young singers, talking about posture, the amount of just unawareness that people tend to have when it comes to hunched shoulders, when it comes to having a long neck, and really being standing proud, standing confidently. People don't realize whether they're 12 or 62. Very few people actually understand how their body is responding to the world around them. And I often make this this parallel to the way that our bodies, the way that we hold our bodies, very much informs our mental self and our emotional self, just as much as our mental self informs our emotional and physical, just as much as our emotional informs our mental and physical. Okay, yeah. So I always get confused when but so they all inform each other. And so as you're talking about that, I'm like, okay, so maybe my stillness just needs to be coming back to that self-awareness again.
Yeah.
Practicing what I preach.
Practicing what you're preaching. Yeah. And it's true too. Like, so in my world, I work with energy. If we're standing in a way that energetically we're like, heart center forward, the back is straight, that also aligns the chakras in the body. And so when that happens, then we're in a flow.
Yep.
Right? So if we're curved in like this, working at the computer, the heart is back, right? And the heart, I feel as though, it needs to lead.
Yeah.
And so it needs to be forward, and we're just tucking the chin in slightly too. It's just, there's an alignment that happens. Also, it just helps open the body up. So like, as you know, with music, right?
Yeah.
When you're singing or projecting your voice, you're projecting who we are. So that projection is our energy. We're not trying to dim it by like, hiding ourselves and looking down. We want to just like open up.
What about like people who struggle to open up or don't necessarily want to tap into that confidence?
Yeah, I remember being in that space.
Me too.
As a kid, right? The visibility, I don't know, I found this was part of my own evolution too, is that I played really small when I was a kid because I didn't want my parents to like get upset or whatever it is. And so I just kept like very quiet, and then I was praised for being really quiet. And even in the workplace, I just kind of, like I did speak up, but I knew how to navigate that too. And it did not serve me well. And then when I started to speak up a little bit more, it was difficult because people were not used to me doing that. And so it created some waves, right? But I understand. I think in order to get into that space, it's important to talk to another person, or find somebody that you trust. If you know if that's the type of person you are, and you're trying to like maybe explore and come out of that, or even just learn more about it, I think that it would be great to talk to somebody or go through, a program like yours, especially as a young person, to express those feelings. And the more the feelings come out and the more that they're validated, then they're more confident to understand and express that what they're feeling it's normal for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of the times, if we are just keeping to ourselves or we're not sharing, it feels like we're the only one who's going through it. And a lot of the times, there are more people that are experiencing the same thing.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. It's, again, interesting because as you were talking, it reminded me of, the character that you're describing. I think a lot of my friends are introverts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my introverted friends would automatically assume that those characteristics you're describing belong to extroverts. So, finding that ability to open up to the world I love that kind of work when it comes to the kids that that I work with and the teenagers I work with, because it really challenges what their perception of identity is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You don't have to be reclusive
No, and
in order to be introverted.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I feel as though there's a new term, they're calling it an outrovert, which I think I am. I'm
Outrovert?
Outrovert. It's O-U-T, outrovert.
Outrovert.
Yeah. So
outrovert.
outrovert. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Americans.
Tomato.
Yes.
Where it's like, I like to be in the company of other people.
Yeah.
I might freak out if it's a big crowd, but I can hang in that space too. I do definitely like to take my own quiet space as well, because that's when I recharge. So when you start to understand,
I thought that was ambivert.
It's like both.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, but this is what I have been like reading in some of the magazines these days.
So you're saying introverts, really feel by themselves as well, but they can be okay.
Yeah, so you can gain energy in being in a crowd, which is what the introverts do not like that. So
Correct.
It's the opposite.
Extrovert.
That's right. So the extroverts get energy by being with a lot of people. Maybe you get like that too.
I'm an ambivert.
Oh, okay. So for me, like, I can be in a group of people when I'm in the right space and really get energy from it.
Yeah.
But then also I have to pull back and gain my own quiet time, recharge, and then I can go back out again. But I understand that before I thought that, like, I always had to be in the crowd, because that's the energy. But then I would just like crash out, right? And then I would actually get sick. So then I started to realize that it's a balance. I can be in a big group of people and get great energy, come back, recharge, and also understand where my boundaries are. So now if I need to be social, I kind of pick and choose the spaces that I need to be in so that I can reserve my energy, if that makes any sense.
No, totally.
So I have to say no, and it makes me feel bad sometimes, right?
No is a love word.
Yeah.
That was a love word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I quickly understand that, like, I need to take care of myself so that I can be in those social circles.
Yeah.
Because I remember a time where I was just going and going and going, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But I also felt like if I didn't go, I was going to miss out on something, right? So I think that when we start to understand too that you're not showing up all the time is also very much like people pleasing.
Yeah.
And I understood that that was a big thing that I had to work through for myself. And once I got through that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I need to like make sure that I'm taking care of myself. I don't need to take care of every other person, because if I'm doing that and to my detriment, then I will burn out. And that's just that was my pattern, just burning out all the time.
Yeah.
And so you use mindfulness now. I use that to gain more energy. And it's a combination of things too, right? Like moving the body, eating really well, taking quiet times, being creative, speaking to good friends, and taking up some space for yourself.
It's funny because I think everybody has this idea of me, and a lot of people that appear extroverted, that's just themselves. I have come to realize that a lot of I love people. I love being around people. I definitely gain energy from people. But there's a balance between, showing up authentically in spaces where your extroversion is celebrated and, whatever, and being performative.
Oh, yes. I can imagine. Yeah. Because you do have to, especially with what
I do.
Yeah, with what you do.
And I think like the gift of marriage has been really beautiful for me, because for the first time I can take off the Emma G hat and be a wife when I get home.
How is that going?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It's nice because again, like it's that I'm able to honor both sides of myself now. And have more of a balance between what my identity is and who I want it to be. and who I want to be when I show up.
Right.
Yeah, it's you're asking about how my marriage is going?
No,
or how
like,
the balance is
yeah,
going?
how do you figured out the balance?
A lot of self-reflection.
Yeah.
A lot of conversation.
Yeah. Because it could be like a little frustrating when you're blending, right? When you're blending and you're like this one person and now you're a unit, right? Or has it been?
Yes, and
Okay.
I think it's more a case in this specific situation. It's not been so much about blending, although that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's more about the fact that I have finally given myself permission to unleash a part of myself that I was scared to see.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where the songwriting helped to cement that pattern interrupt for me. Because for a long time I was rebuking it until I started like, okay, let's actually, what is it that I'm scared of? What is it? How can I reframe that narrative? How can I write a song about it that I can remind myself, oh, I'm safe.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm okay.
There's the safety. Yep.
Yeah.
It's so important. It's so important. Even if you're not quite sure, you can cultivate that sense of safety.
Yeah.
Like through a practice, like whatever it is, the songwriting, sitting in meditation, working out or whatever that is, but always coming back to your center and trying to figure out like, how am I feeling about this? The self-reflection, when we were talking about earlier, just going. If we can just take moments, it doesn't have to be daily, but within a week, kind of self-assess where we are. Yeah.
It's been interesting. I've been for the past 30 days with my church been doing this seek thing, which has many levels to it. But one of the nicest things that I've been experiencing is just giving myself permission to like start my day with just meditation or prayer and being able to like just focus and really be present for 30 days, which is hard when you're organizing things you don't want to organize. But it's why I don't know. I love the work you do. I love the fact that we get to host this podcast together.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's also it has been great. I'm reflecting now on who we've interviewed with, and I just feel like there's this underlying theme, which I know we've done on purpose, right? To like work with or interview people who have really dedicated a lot of their energy into up-leveling, empowering themselves, empowering others, and finding like the goodness. Yeah. I've really enjoyed speaking to like Dr. Rob yesterday or last week. Rather. All these days are quarantine.
Yeah.
And then Joey the week before that,
and of course Laurent and Douglas.
Laurent and Douglas were just so amazing, and I'm really looking forward to the next few months too. We've got a really nice lineup coming, but I really enjoy just this moment to check in with one another and slow down a little bit. I know you've been going through a lot, so
but that's life, and I think I mean one of the things that maybe a little bit discordant to the typical human in Western society, but for me it's really important that I show up authentically, even when things are really hard. Because when I write a song, for example, about racism or about sexual assault, I'm not writing that for me. I'm writing that for whoever else needs to hear that. And I really it's really important for me that when I show up, it's because other people are potentially going through similar situations.
Yes, definitely.
And I feel like everybody needs to feel validated and not alone.
Yes.
So
I think like for whoever's out there, listening or watching, whatever we are talking about today could resonate with you. If you need a moment of stillness, like find that stillness. If you need to write a song, like sit with a piece of paper, put on a timer, right? Like let the words flow. But being authentic, I think both you and I find it to be like an essential part
Oh, for
of
sure.
showing up in life, right?
110%.
Because it's just like we have this one life. We want to live it fully.
Yeah.
And
But also take time for stillness. Because that is part of being full. Right?
It totally is.
Yeah.
It totally is. Otherwise you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing today.
Well, thank you for sharing today. And thank you for tuning in. I know this was not the most orthodox of podcast episodes, but we just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an, behind the scenes of what goes on in the world of Dinah Simpson and Emma G. But yeah, this is high key living.
This is high key living. This is the showing up in the best version that we can.
Yeah.
And
authentically.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So until next week, friends.
We'll see you.
We do have some really fun guests coming up, so make sure you stay tuned every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes. We go live. Otherwise, we will be on Spotify and all that good stuff tomorrow.
Also comment. Check in with us. Let us know how you're doing.
Yeah, please. We would love to hear from you. And maybe, if you have any questions, get to those as well. You are a part of this. This is for you.
Yeah.
We are all one. Together we rise. So on and so forth. Okay. Until next week, friends. Be good, be kind, spread love, and remember, you're worthy.
You are worthy.
Cause I am searching, don't need to look outside myself to know that I am whole. And I've been learning, made it through the darkest storms, and I'm coming to my own. And I am worthy of love. I can learn to love myself just because